One of the biggest reasons that people say that they struggle with transitioning to plant-based nutrition is because they think it's going to take a whole lot of time, and they're like, I just don't have, I don't really like to cook that much. I don't know how to do this in a way that is going to, be like very little time prepping and doesn't require a whole lot of cooking. And so today I'm going to share 5 great tips with you for how to budget your time more effectively so you can spend less time meal prepping and meal planning and more time in your life. Ready to dive in?
Welcome to the Bela Coaching YouTube channel, supporting helping professionals with long-lasting habits for energy in your life, body, and business through courses like Balance for Life to help mental health professionals create simple systems and habits to make the most out of your time, money, and lifestyle. Nutrition for Life to help you transition to plant-based nutrition and stick to it for good so that you can improve your mental and physical health and become a conscious consumer in the process, as well as individual coaching and counseling to cover anything in between so that you can live whole, love well, and lead adventurously. For more information, see the resources in the description below.
So the first one is kind of a twofer. So one is to do one-pot meals and one-pot meals on the stovetop, so you can do things like soups and stir fries where you just basically put everything in the pot at the same time, and then all you have to do is turn it on high, you boil it, and then bring it down to a simmer, and it's done in 20 or 30 minutes. I have so many meals like this because I don't want to be cooking on 10 different planes at 10 different times, and all for the sake of like one meal. So I love one-pot meals, and I definitely recommend you check out my Pinterest board and check out any good resources. You can even just type it into Google. Type in, especially if you're new to vegan, type in your favorite non-vegan recipes or foods, and then look for vegan, plant-based, easy, quick versions of it. For instance, chicken cacciatore, and you type in easy vegan chicken cacciatore, and you'll find all sorts of recipes for delicious alternatives. I don't use a lot of tofu and tempeh as a replacement for chicken. I mainly use the seasonings to season the vegetables so that I can still get all of those seasonings in that same seasoning combination that we crave and that is so delicious to us. We're just putting it onto something else, and so we're still gonna get that delicious, flavorful feeling and all that happiness. So definitely check out, any resources that you can based on using that kind of style. So we're looking for one-pot meals for slow cookers and trying to find recipes that are just transfers of what we already know and love. Next is to pay attention to similar cook times when you're baking, and try to create a spread of all different kinds of veggies. So this helps with variety, and it also helps with just different flavors that you want in your meal. So you cover a whole bunch of veggies, you chop them up, cover them in the seasonings that you love, and then you bake them in the oven. And so for instance, I will do things like broccoli and red onion. I'll do cauliflower with things like carrots, and potatoes take about 30 minutes. So you bake them for 15, you flip them, toss them around another 15, and you're good to go. So there are so many recipes that you can find that they have similar cook times, and then you're going to be able to just bake them all in the oven for whatever it is, and then you have this whole spread. You really didn't have to do very much prep. You didn't have to babysit it or flip it or anything, with some of these recipes. And you can just then put them in a bowl, and you have a delicious spread of food. So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to use a food processor or a blender to chop up your veggies. So I have a Ninja blender that actually acts as a food processor as well. So you just pulse it and it just chops up the food. And so what I do when I'm meal prepping at the beginning of the week is I will chop up like a bunch of onions and a bunch of garlic and different foods that they can be minced. I don't really need them in huge chunks, although I guess you can just pulse less and then you have bigger chunks as well. But I typically use it for things that I need a whole bunch of it, and I may spend a long time standing there at the cutting board chopping it all up, and I really don't need to. So I use a food processor for a lot of those things to easily chop and dice. And then all I have to do is put them in the recipe and I'm good to go. As you kind of heard me mention, you know, I will chop and slice and dice and then just put it actually in a container sometimes and use it throughout the week. And so, for instance, with the onions that I've chopped in the food processor, I may use some immediately in the recipes that I'm fixing at the beginning of the week, but sometimes there are some foods that are really, they're better fresh and they're better, you know, not left in the fridge for a couple days. Or you may have enough food for 4 days and you may have cooked all of that, and so you prep the rest, and then once it reaches that 4th day, then you're ready to make the next set of recipes for the next 3 days of the week. And so in order to, you know, save yourself time throughout the week, you can chop all those things up, you know, slice your carrots, slice up your peppers. Although if you're going to do peppers, I would recommend only doing them a short time before you actually need them. But things like broccoli, cauliflower, mushrooms, onion, garlic, you can pre-chop all of those at the beginning of the week. And then by the end of the week, they're still good. You know, they're still able to be used in the recipes that you need. So chop them, slice them, dice them at the beginning of the week, and then use them throughout the week in your recipes. Maybe you want to prep your breakfasts and lunches for the whole week at the beginning of the week, and then you want to fix your dinner fresh every night and have a different recipe just to keep up the variety and the diversity.
Before I go into the 5th tip, I wanted to briefly recap the first 4 tips. So tip number 1, fix one-pot meals. Tip number 2 is to utilize similar cook times for easy baking, which is basically like 1-sheet meals in the oven. And then you have tip number 3, use a food processor or blender to chop up a bunch of food to prep in bulk. And tip number 4 is to chop at the beginning of the week and then cook it fresh once you're ready for it. So for tip number 5, I want you to consider having a prep party for freezer meals. So the way that this can look is getting together with people in your area, friends, family, that you all want to cook, and you all want to cook healthier meals, and you have some ideas about how you want this to go. Connecting with similar vegans in the area that you want to get to know better. You know, all of these are great ways to have a meal prep party, and get to know other people, and also take some of the stress off of yourself to be doing all of the cooking and also all of the cleanup. So it creates kind of a community effort, and it's easier and simpler, and it's more time efficient as well. You can also, if you're not wanting to do a meal prep party, or it's not something that you want to do like every week on a regular basis, you can just cook in bulk and then freeze the meals. And then you have those meals easily accessible during those times when you don't feel like cooking or you're running short on time. Think of it similar to having a TV dinner or a can of soup that, you know, you need to be really quick about your meals. And so you have those already ready for you in the freezer. So that's a huge time saver. Cooking in bulk, having a meal prep party makes it a lot more fun. So that is tip number 5.
Now you have 5 great tips for helping you to budget your time better and spend less time cooking so that you can get back to your life. So if this was helpful, or if one of these stood out to you, let me know in the comments below which one was most helpful. And I look forward to having a great conversation with you down there. If you are new to transitioning to vegan and you are wanting more support and you're needing more accountability, I definitely recommend checking out my Transition to Vegan webinar that you'll see in the description below, so that you can get some additional resources and additional support. I also have a link to 10 vegan resources down in the description that's really going to help you to make sure that you're started off on the right foot, you're connected to the resources that you need, you have the knowledge base that you need to really help you to thrive in your nutrition and feel really solid in it. So check out those resources in the description and let me know how it goes in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below with what was most helpful for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the bell icon to get notified about upcoming videos from Bela Coaching like this one. Visit kbellacoaching.com for details on services and information on upcoming live events, and follow Bela on social media like Instagram and Facebook for more great content. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.